Yasindu Sri Lanka. Horton Plains exploring. Hello everyone, welcome back to Yasindu Sri Lanka. Today, I'm taking you to one of the most breathtaking and mysterious places in the country, Horton Plains National Park. This is a place where nature, history, and mystery come together. So stay with me till the end to see some incredible views, including the world-famous World's End Cliff. As I walk through the misty entrance, you can already feel the chill in the air. We're standing over 2,000 meters above sea level. Horton Plains is located in the central highlands, between Nuwara Eliya and Ohia. It's one of the highest plateaus in Sri Lanka, and it's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This place is home to some amazing wildlife. If you're lucky, you can spot the sambar deer, which roam freely around the plains. There are also over 100 species of birds, including some found only in Sri Lanka. So it's a paradise for nature lovers and photographers. One of the highlights here is Baker's Falls, a stunning waterfall named after the British explorer, Sir Samuel Baker. You can hear the roar of the water before you even see it, and when the sunlight hits the mist, it creates a rainbow that's just magical. Now this is the moment we've been waiting for, World's End. This is a sheer cliff that drops about 870 meters straight down. On a clear morning, you can see all the way to the southern coast of Sri Lanka. But be careful. The fog rolls in fast and visibility can disappear in minutes. Fun fact, Horton Plains was originally called Eliya, meaning Great Open Plain. The British renamed it after Sir Robert Horton, a colonial governor. And if you're planning to visit, come early around 5:30 a.m. That's when the view is clearest and the sunrise is spectacular. Also remember, no plastic, no littering. Let's keep this paradise clean for future generations. This national park sits over 2,100 meters above sea level, in the central highlands about 32 km from Nuwara Eliya. It's a world above the clouds, a land of grasslands, cloud forests, crystal clear streams, and hidden wildlife. The road to Horton Plains itself is part of the adventure. If you're coming from Nuwara Eliya, it's a 1.5-hour drive through winding mountain roads, surrounded by tea estates, eucalyptus trees, and mist. The higher you climb, the colder and fresher the air becomes. Sometimes the fog gets so thick you can barely see 10 meters ahead. This route was once used by British planters in the 1800s to reach their hunting grounds. Back then, Horton Plains was known as Eliya, meaning the Great Open Plain. They renamed it after Sir Robert Horton, the then governor of Ceylon. Once you enter the park, you step into a world that feels untouched by time. The grasslands stretch endlessly, surrounded by misty montane forests. The air is crisp, often between 5 to 15 degrees in the morning. Every step here is part of an ecosystem that's millions of years old. Scientists believe these plains are a relic of an ancient wetland that has existed since the Ice Age. Horton Plains is one of the few places in Sri Lanka where you can find cloud forests, wet grasslands, and mountain streams all in one area. These forests are called cloud forests because they're literally inside the clouds. The trees absorb water from the mist. Now let's talk about the wildlife that calls Horton Plains home. The most famous resident here is the sambar deer. Large, graceful animals often seen grazing fearlessly near the visitor trail. Over 24 species of mammals live here, including the purple-faced langur, wild boar, leopards, and even the rare toque macaque. But the leopards here are extremely shy. You're lucky if you ever spot one. This park is also a paradise for bird watchers, with over 100 bird species. And more than 20 are endemic, found nowhere else in the world. You might hear the call of the Sri Lanka whistling thrush, or spot the colorful yellow-eared bulbul. Horton Plains is not only about beauty, it's full of mystery. Locals speak of the vanishing fog, where hikers lose their way as mist surrounds them completely. There are also ancient tales. Some believe this plain was once a hunting ground for the kings of Kandy. Others say it was part of the mythical Ramayana Trail. The weather here changes fast. One minute it's bright sunshine, and the next you're in thick fog. The temperature can drop to 0 degrees C during early mornings or December nights. This landscape is also the source of 3 major rivers. The Mahaweli, Kelani, and Walawi rivers all begin here. So in a way, Horton Plains is the water heart of Sri Lanka. The main trail here is about 9 kilometers. It takes around 3 hours to complete. Along the way, we'll visit some of the most iconic spots in Sri Lanka, like Baker's Falls, Mini World's End, and of course, the famous World's End. At World's End, the ground suddenly drops over 870 meters, and on a clear day, you can see all the way down to the southern plains of Sri Lanka. But if you come early morning, the mist rolls in and creates this magical, mysterious vibe. Everywhere you look here, you'll see tiny bursts of color hiding among the grass. Pinks, purples, yellows, and whites. These flowers are perfectly adapted to the cold, windy climate up here, 2,000 meters above sea level. Many of them only bloom in the early morning when the mist is still floating around. It's like nature's own artwork. When you walk through Horton Plains, it's easy to forget how fragile this beauty is. These flowers depend on clean air, clear water, and a healthy ecosystem. That's why we should always protect these places, so future generations can see the same beauty we see today. This is the Banara flower, small, purple, and truly beautiful. It blooms during the misty season and adds a gentle color to the green plains. people say Binara represents hope and strength because it blooms even in the coldest weather. It's one of the true symbols of Horton Plains. This white flower is called a racina. Some people call it the everlasting flower because it stays fresh even after drying. It grows silently among the grass, and even though it looks simple, it adds elegance to the plains. And look at this beauty, the rhododendron, also called the rose of Horton Plains. Its deep red color stands out against the mist and green forest. It only grows in the highlands of Sri Lanka, and it's a favorite of birds and bees. You can also hear the calls of many rare birds here, like the Sri Lankan whistling thrush, the yellow-eared bulbul, and the Sri Lanka bush warbler. These birds are found only in our island. That means Horton Plains is their home and nowhere else in the world. If you walk quietly, you might also spot a mongoose, porcupine, or even a purple-faced langur jumping through the trees. Here's one of my favorites, the Binara flower. It has a beautiful purple color and grows only in the central highlands of Sri Lanka. People say it's a symbol of purity and strength because it blooms, even in the toughest weather. Another one you can see here is the Nelu, also called strobilanthes. This flower is very special because it blooms only once every 12 years. Imagine waiting more than a decade to see a flower. That's true patience from nature. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you might even see small orchids hiding under the grass, delicate and rare, just like hidden jewels of Horton Plains. All these flowers remind us how delicate nature is. So if you visit Horton Plains, please don't pick the flowers. Just enjoy them where they belong, in the wild. Protecting them means protecting our country's natural beauty. Now let's talk about the giants that guard this land, the trees. Horton Plains is covered by a mix of montane forest and grassland, which means you get both open fields and thick misty woods. Here you'll see kina trees, maharathmo, and galwaralu, trees that are short but strong, shaped by the cold winds. Many of them are covered in moss, ferns, and lichens, giving the forest that magical ancient look. Some of these trees are hundreds of years old. They've survived storms, fires, and generations of explorers. Everything here, the animals, the trees, even the tiny moss, is connected. If we harm one part of it, we harm everything. That's why protecting Horton Plains is so important. When you walk here, remember, this is not just a tourist spot. It's a living world. So let's respect it, keep it clean, and leave only footprints. If you look closely, you'll also find tiny yellow and white flowers, and even wild orchids growing on rocks and trees. These are the hidden gems of Horton Plains, proof that even the smallest things can be beautiful. What is World's End? World's End is a dramatic cliff at the southern edge of Horton Plains National Park in Sri Lanka's central highlands. The cliff suddenly drops 870 meters, 854 feet, straight down, one of the steepest drops in the island. On a clear morning, you can see all the way to the southern plains, and sometimes even the Indian Ocean, nearly 80 kilometers away. The location, Horton Plains, about 30 kilometers from Nuwara Eliya. His best visiting time, between 6 a.m., 9 a.m., before the mist covers the view. Now the most famous viewpoint, World's End. This is where the plateau suddenly drops down by 870 meters and almost a vertical cliff. On a clear day, you can see tea plantations, villages, and even the southern coastline of Sri Lanka, more than 80 kilometers away. But be careful. After 9 a.m., thick mist rolls in and covers everything. That's why most hikers start before sunrise. Just before the main World's End is Mini World's End. Another cliff, about half the height, but equally beautiful and far less crowded. There's a silent power here, with the wind hitting your face and clouds rising beneath you. It reminds you how small we are, and how grand nature truly is. When you stand at the edge, the path to World's End is full of life, from misty forests to open grasslands. You'll see sambar deer, wild orchids, banara flowers, and sometimes even leopard tracks. The area is over 2,100 meters high, meaning the air is cold, thin, and incredibly fresh. The forests nearby are called montane cloud forests, covered in moss and lichen. It feels like walking through an enchanted land. Important safety tips. Stay behind the fence. The drop is real and dangerous. Don't go too close during fog or rain. Visibility can drop to 0. Bring warm clothes. It's often 8 to 15 degrees C in the morning. Carry water and snacks, but don't litter. The park is a no plastic zone.
对呀，早上超冷的啊。
species found nowhere else in the world. Locals call it Locanthia, Lucanti, meaning the edge of the world. World's End was discovered by British explorers in the 19th century. It's part of the Central Highlands UNESCO World Heritage Site. The area is rich in endemic plants and animals. See end of part 2.
다리가 시원해.